I never thought I'd be the woman left behind, the one scrolling through social media, watching her ex thrive with someone else. But here I am, alone at 33, drowning in regret, watching the man I took for granted build a life with someone better. And the worst part, I did this to myself. Because one night, in a moment of carelessness, I admitted the truth. I told my husband, the man who had loved me unconditionally, that he wasn't my first choice. That I only married him because the men I really wanted weren't available. And instead of fighting for me, he simply walked away. Now he's thriving, and I'm the one left behind, wishing I could take it all back before everything fell apart. Daniel was always there for me. He wasn't the kind of man who demanded attention. He wasn't the loudest in the room or the most exciting guy I'd ever dated. He wasn't the alpha male I once dreamed of. But he was kind, reliable, steady. He showed up when it mattered. When other guys were busy playing games, Daniel was the one who stayed. When I cried over men who didn't value me, he listened. And when I finally decided it was time to settle down, he was waiting. So, when he proposed, I said yes, not because he was the love of my life, but because I thought he was good enough. I told myself I was choosing stability over passion. I thought I was making the smart choice. But what I didn't realize was that Daniel wasn't the lucky one for marrying me. I was the lucky one for having him. And I didn't see that until it was too late. It happened on a random night. Nothing dramatic. No big fight. Just a casual conversation that turned into the biggest mistake of my life. We were having dinner at home, sipping wine, talking about the past. I don't even remember how we got there, but suddenly we were discussing old relationships. Daniel smiled and asked, "Do you ever think about how we ended up together?" And instead of saying something sweet, instead of telling him he was the best thing that ever happened to me, I laughed and said, "Honestly, if the real men I wanted back then had been available, we probably wouldn't be married." The second it left my mouth, I felt the shift. The air in the room changed. Daniel didn't laugh. He didn't say anything at all. He just stared at me, his expression unreadable. "What?" he finally asked, his voice quiet. I tried to laugh it off. "Oh, come on, babe, I just meant." "I know what you meant," he interrupted. And that's when I saw it. The look in his eyes, like something inside him had just broken. That was the moment I lost him. I just didn't know it yet. After that night, Daniel changed. Not in a dramatic, screaming, throwing things kind of way. He just stopped. Stopped texting me first. Stopped calling me babe. Stopped looking at me like I was the best thing in his world. First I thought he was just hurt. That he'd get over it. That after a few days we'd go back to normal. But as time passed, I started to realize he wasn't mad. He wasn't waiting for an apology. He was detaching, slowly, quietly, without a single fight. And that's what scared me the most. Because for the first time in our marriage, I saw it. I had given him a reason to leave. And worse, I had made him want to. One evening, I walked into our bedroom and found Daniel packing his suitcase. My stomach dropped. "Are you going on a trip?" I asked, trying to keep my voice light. He didn't look at me. His tone was calm. "Come." That's when I saw it. His wedding ring sitting on the dresser. I felt a cold wave of panic. "Daniel, what are you doing?" I whispered. Finally he turned to face me. And I knew before he even said the words. "I can't do this anymore, Alyssa." I shook my head. "You're overreacting. It was just a stupid joke." He let out a soft, bitter laugh. "Was it?" he asked. Because to me it wasn't a joke. To me, it was the moment I realized something. I swallowed hard. Realized what? He exhaled, his voice steady but final. That I was never the man you really wanted. That I was just good enough. And I refused to stay married to a woman who sees me as her second choice. Tears burned my eyes. "Daniel, please, you're my husband. I love you." He gave me a sad smile. "Maybe. But not the way I deserved." And then he picked up his bag and walked out the door. No yelling. No begging. Just a man who finally realized his worth. And for the first time I was the one left behind. At first I told myself he'd come back. that he was just angry, that once he had time to think, he'd realize he was overreacting. But weeks passed, then months, and Daniel, he never called, never texted, never looked back. And then the final blow came. I was out running errands when I saw him. At first I thought I was imagining it, but no, it was him. And worse, he wasn't alone. She was beautiful, the kind of woman who radiated confidence, the kind who didn't need to make cheap jokes to prove she was better. And him, he looked happy, not just moving on, thriving. Like losing me wasn't a loss at all. I wanted to believe he'd still be hurting, missing me, wondering if things could have worked out. But he wasn't, because Daniel had finally found what he deserved. And for the first time, I realized I had thrown away the only man who ever truly loved me. After Daniel, I told myself I'd move on fast. I was still young, attractive, fun. I thought men would be lining up to date me. So I downloaded dating apps, went out with friends, and tried to act like I wasn't completely falling apart inside. At first, the attention felt good. The matches, the compliments, the flirty late-night texts. But then I started noticing something. The men I went on dates with, they weren't like Daniel. They didn't check if I got home safe. They didn't ask about my day. They didn't see me as someone to build a life with. To them, I was just another option. And suddenly I realized, the one man who ever truly valued me, I had mocked him. And now, even broke men wouldn't take me seriously. I had laughed at the only man who ever truly cared. And now I was the joke. I don't get a happy ending. I don't get a second chance. Daniel is gone. Not just from our home. Not just from our marriage. But from my life. And the worst part, he's better without me. I thought I was being honest. I thought I was being real. But all I did was prove to him that I never truly valued him. And when a man realizes that, he doesn't argue. He doesn't fight for you. He just walks away. And once he does, he never looks back. So if you're listening to this, don't make the mistake I did. Because when you make a good man feel like he wasn't your first choice, he'll find someone who chooses him first. And trust me, regret is a lonely place to live. Goodbye.